I wasn't gonna do a video about this, but just thinking, I probably have no choice but to. I watched Idlewild. Movie came out in like 2006. Oops, sorry, 2008. There we go. It's an old movie, and it's one of those movies that really um, is a good characterization of my life. What it's been like for me. I'm Percival. I'm that guy. Quick rundown. Percival, he's in the music. And, Rooster, he wants to have a family. Percival always knows he's meant for more. His mother dies when he's 4 years old. He lives in his big old stuffy house with his dad, who's a mortician. So he grows up, and I'm sure everybody told him that that's what he's going to be too, but he's not. He's a musician, and he's damn good at it. He's a piano player. He's damn good at it. Ends up meeting this girl. Long story short, they fall in love. She gets killed. Before she gets killed, I'm sorry. She was telling him he could do anything. She wants him to go to Chicago with her. She had all these big dreams and everything. And really, honestly, he did too. He had dreams too. But he had never had anybody really that was there with him. And I'm just going to add a little bit, from what I remember growing up like that. You don't really have a lot of people around you, and you're talented, but you're living in this very small community where you're expected to be like your family and follow the path your family did, but you want more. And that's what the girl was doing. She was like, we're going to go to Chicago. I'm going to take you with me. We're going to do that and the other. She ends up getting murdered. And she really was like his muse, his inspiration to make music, to really make good songs and stuff like that. So when she died, and he showed her all the pictures of his mother being passed on, and he talked about how his father, that's the man that he lived with, his father, how he spent like 14 hours, I think, trying to get her makeup right. And I think he flew in nail polish and a whole bunch of other kind of stuff. And I thought about when my mother died, the stuff, we did. So we put everything of hers in a storage unit. Everything. And that sounds crazy, I'm sure, to somebody out there. That why would you spend 14 hours of makeup and hair on a dead person? Well, it's just as crazy to do that as it is for me and my grandfather to take all of my mother's stuff out of her house and put it in a playroom. We put the sheet she died in. That sounds crazy, don't it? You know what that was? We hadn't dealt with it. And Percival's dad didn't either. Now that's a little bit different because he's 4 years old. I was 12. I was 13. I was 13 when Mom died, so it was a little bit different. Getting off subject. It just really touched me how similar his story was to my life, And so he had her body on the slab. He had her body on the slab, and he was going to commit suicide. And I mean, it was very beautiful the way they did it, but it was sad because here you are, this man's about to kill himself, about to commit suicide. It's tragic. And his friend Rooster comes and saves him at the last minute. And that's really beautiful. That's like that whole thing is very beautiful and it's very sweet, but that's not real. A lot of people out here, especially back then, they don't get discovered. They don't get that chance to shine. That doesn't happen. And if they do, they get cheated out of their royalties and out of their monies. In real life, he would have committed suicide. In real life, that's just what happened. I'm not trying to be morbid. That's just what happened. And there's a part in the film where he brings the girl to the mortuary, and he's showing her all these pictures of his family and all this stuff. Not by myself. And and he got her joking with her, and Dad comes in and says, "What are you doing? This floozy out of here." He says, "This floozy out of here." Another part where he's getting drunk, and Ursula's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "My mother left me, and she girl's gonna leave you too." He's like, "My mother died, dude. She died. She didn't leave you. It wasn't her choice. She died. Like my mother passed." My grandfather said things to me that really hurt me. And I said some things to him that I regret. And I've talked about that in the past with y'all. I'm not proud of everything I said to him. And there's things he said to me that he apologized for. But that's how it is. And I just, the movie's beautiful. I wish I had seen that when I was 13 because, it's beautiful, it's great. But in reality, that's not what happens. You know what happens in reality? You know what happens? In reality, Percival keeps working in a funeral home. His dad keeps drinking. Percival becomes bitter, and he probably starts drinking too. Guess what? His dad eventually is going to die. He's going to have a heart attack or something and die. Percival is going to keep performing in the little nightclub or something. Some little make up $100 a night or something. He's going to take over the funeral home, and that's what he's going to be doing for the rest of his life. He's going to follow what his dad did, and maybe he'll open up his own funeral home. That's what happens. That's how it works in the real world. There is no finding some beauty and falling in love, and she's a singer, and and I play piano, and that doesn't happen. This movie so clearly goes down the path of my life. It's almost scary. And I've had this for a while. I bought this back in 17, I think. I've had this for a while. May of 17. I think I bought this once up in Maryland. It's 2 hours long. 1 minute. Great movie. I'm not a singer, I'm not a dancer or nothing, but I know what it's like to live somewhere and not belong and always know you're meant for better, but at the same time feel like you can't leave. And see, I'm a little different in that I drove trucks. I never became a minister like my grandfather. That just never happened. Not saying that something wrong with being a minister, it just never happened. First of all, the funeral thing is different because you don't have to. I've been all over the country, and I'm really like what that girl was saying. That's how I am. Why would you want to stay in a stiff place like this, in a little small booty ass town? It's different because of the 30s, and I've talked about it to you guys before that back in the day, as a black man, as a man, you pretty much. It wasn't about love. It wasn't about love. It was about access and survival. Especially back then, the Great Depression and all, it's about survival. It wasn't about love and all that. Great movie though. I like how they were able to present a message and then move the story. They didn't dwell on something. They would, I don't know if that makes sense. Some stories aren't good at that, but they were able to, move the story of it. After she died, they moved to the part, Andre was able to get his family back. Big Boy got his family back. I'm sorry, Andre ended up going traveling, became a musician and stuff. That doesn't happen in real life. In real life, you get bitter. But my grandfather never drank. That part, yeah, that's the other part of it. That there was no real religion in it. It was just like Southern people, Southern blacks. It was really more the nightclub culture and I wasn't raised around there. I don't really know anybody that was raised around nightclub culture. So that part is a little bit different in my story. I didn't see nobody drink. Elder Chess never drank in front of me. But if you take that same story and you change a few things, that was my childhood. Just that not talking, and like the part where they sit at the table and the dude reads papers, he just looks out the window. That's how my grandfather was. And I realized this is how men are. That's how men back then were. That's what it was, you know. There's a part when he's getting ready to leave near the end, and he tells his dad, and his dad's like, "Yeah, mama left me, and this girl's gonna leave you." And he's like, "What are you talking about? Mom died. She didn't leave you." And the dad's like, "I don't want you to be hurt, Percival." And I really, you know, at first I thought to myself that was just something stupid you say to keep him from leaving. But it also come to me that he probably means that. You know? I believe he probably means that. I believe he, in his own little strange way, I believe he really does. He loved his son. Going back to what I told you guys before, they had been through a traumatic incident, like me and my grandfather. But instead of dealing with it, therapy, all that, we just put all our stuff in the playroom, and that was our way of just basically, it was almost like in our mind, in LHS's mind, my mind, subconsciously, we were so shocked by her death. We expect her to just one day show up, knock on the door, and hey, mom, we got all your stuff in the room. You know what I mean? We got all your, we got your rosette, we got your crown, we got your church uniform, we got your shoes. I mean, we even got the sheet. We had the sheet she died in, the pillowcase she died in. We had everything, man. I mean, that you know that show Hoarders? That's what that was like. It was like Hoarders in there. We never went in there. It was almost like a shrine to my mother. That was a shrine to her. Like her spirit was in that room, almost like. I think myself sometimes, if I die, would anybody do that for me? But that's not really normal. You're supposed to deal with stuff and move on. But his dad spending all that money and time on his mother, same spirit, just of being shocked and out of love, I'm gonna do this for you. I'm going to do this because I love you, and I want the world to know I love you, and I want the world to know you mattered, you were important, and you counted. You know, we just did ours in kind of a more of a private way. That was more of a private thing than what he did. I guess that's a different culture. It's deep Southern culture of, it's kind of like Louisiana would have the funerals where they have the parades and they play music. That's kind of what that is. It's more of a Southern black, loud and proud culture, nightclub culture and all that stuff. Probably like seafood. That's different kind of culture than what I grew up in. But that, unfortunately, a lot of us don't. We don't do that. We don't make it out. I understood what he meant about feeling like when the girl wanted him to go to Chicago with her, and she was talking about there's a movement going on. They didn't go into civil rights and all that, but she knew what that meant. She's basically saying that as a black man, you don't have to be second class. You can be great. You can be this, that, and the other. You don't have to be down and out like this. Yeah. And he was like afraid of change. Yeah, because you living with an old man. So you're picking up some of those peculiarities of being afraid of change. And you have to be careful about that, because you know why? You're getting older. That old man is going to die one day. And if you don't watch out, you're going to be an old, bitter, dried up old man just like him. Angry at the world. Drinking, getting drunk at 9, 10 o'clock in the morning and stuff. Yelling at your son and stuff. I mean, you know, one thing about at the end, one thing I liked at the end, listen. The father had told him she was a floozy and to get out and all that stuff, right? But at the end, the father put a picture of Andre Percival up on the wall, like looking sideways, and he was looking at the picture of the girl, and she was done up and all that in the coffin. He was looking at her like this, and he's put on the wall, and he walked off, kind of like he respected it. You know what I mean? Like brother, like. Sometimes I think for black men, we want our sons to be respected, especially older black men. They want their sons to be respected. They want their sons to matter and stuff like that. And so in that moment, I think it was kind of like saying, all right, you know what I mean? You're accomplished now. I'm proud of you. And I respect the woman you were with. I respect her in her death. You know, I didn't get married. I like that. And I think, personally, I always wanted that. I wanted my grandfather to respect me. I wanted him to, look at me and know that I'm not a bad guy. I made some mistakes. I didn't do what I should have done, but that I'm not a bad dude. Maybe life didn't turn out the way it should have. My mother passing and me doing drugs and messing with Veronica and all that, and I'll tell that story another day. But I kind of wish that could have been my story, but of course it wasn't. Of course I fucked up and I got fired and had to get a job driving trucks for another shitty company. For another couple of years. Well, that was my grandfather. Percival's dad wasn't that old. Elder Chester was like 60-something years old when I was born. It's a little different. So he wasn't going to live forever, and he had health problems too. Come on, man. But I guess that's the ending I wanted. That's the ending I wanted for him to be proud of me, for him to see me successful and stuff like that. Of course, I'm the dude that would move my family up too. Move them up and out, Anyway, peace out.